Did you know your special is spelled with the I before the C?
No way. You know how long I've been like that for? The
Probably a long time. I wonder how many other people saw it and never said anything. You know, it's like when you have like food in your teeth.
No
hey man,
way.
you got some spinach there.
I asked so many people about it too. I'm like, hey man, it's good. Yeah, man, it looks great.
Yeah. There you go.
Jesus Christ.
But my name's on there. That makes sense.
That's spelled right.
Yes, it is. Honestly, that's probably why I found it. I was like, it's spelled right. Wait a second. Wait a second.
Jesus
Something's
Christ.
off.
I'm gonna do a countdown and then we'll go right into it. Okay, you said we're good.
Yep.
Alright, I'm gonna put this up there.
In which place do I look?
This is yours and this is why.
Yeah, you don't have to. We'll just,
I'm just gonna look at you guys.
Exactly. I'll look the cadence sometimes for stuff I always do.
Sure.
All right, let's roll. Oh yeah, Caden, you do the countdown.
Alright.
Ready.
Ready.
3, 2, action.
You talking to me? I'm talking to you, and this is talking to me, talking to you, and I am joined by Aimee Jo.
Yay!
Aimee with an I-M-E-E. That's a cool way to spell it.
All the vowels except for O and U, I guess.
Yeah, you noticed it on my board, and then you also noticed that I had special spelled wrong. 64 episodes, folks, and we had special spelled wrong.
The only reason why I noticed
I
it,
am
though,
special.
is because, yeah, we're all special in our own ways, right? You know,
That's
that's what our
hilarious.
moms tell us.
Yeah, exactly. But
That's what friends are for.
yeah, thank you.
That's why I said I'm like, I'm the type of person who, like, if you have something in your teeth, I'm gonna, like, not say something, like,
Good.
really loud.
If I
but,
got
like,
a booger, you're like, let me know.
Yeah. I'll just, like, pull you aside and be like, hey, just let you know you have something you have to take care
The people
of.
that
you know?
don't are assholes.
Yeah.
Total assholes.
You
For all you
know.
people that seem that special was spelled wrong, I didn't say nothing.
They're trying to be polite in their own way, I think, too.
Well,
you know?
I guess so, yeah.
It's like,
But it also just makes
go
me
with
look
the flow, okay.
64 episodes. Somebody noticed that at some point. Or if no one did,
Yeah.
I mean, I got away with it.
Attention to detail.
That's funny though. But no, I got you here. I'm
Yeah.
excited to get you here. We talked about it quite a few times.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, we talked about how we first met at Crooner,
Yeah.
but we both don't really remember.
Yeah,
Really,
I'm
which
pretty
is
sure
funny.
I came up to you, like, after meeting you before and was like, hey, nice to meet you. And you're
Yeah.
like, we've definitely met before. And I'm like,
yeah.
were you wearing a hat before? Like, I'm so sorry.
I do that too. I look different sometimes, you know. I get random haircuts that don't make much sense. And but no, it's cool because your music. I liked your music when you the first time I seen you at Kerner.
Yeah.
And so I thought it'd be cool to get on here and talk to you about it. And another like thing that was kind of cool about like learning about your music, because I first listened to it, and you have a very poppy sound. It's very upbeat. It's very fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we did a music video with you.
Mm-hmm.
And
which is so much fun.
yeah, it was like, that was a great
guys were
time.
killer
I'm
at it.
gonna show it here in a second. But it was a lot of fun. But the styling you did there was very different than what I've heard like on your on your EP record.
Yeah. They're totally opposite. And honestly, the acoustic version kind of spurred from like how I normally play it live.
Mm-hmm.
So when I play live, I'm solo.
Yeah.
I don't normally have a band. When
do you
I
play out more often solo? Or do you ever play with the band?
Yeah. When I do have like the right gig, I'll have a couple friends play with me.
Cool.
Austin Tinsley and Luke Ahern on drums and bass guitar. But when I was gigging out with the song, I couldn't do the big sounds like the produced version with the EP. Yeah. So a lot of my friends were saying how they really liked that song through the years, and I was like, well, you should hear it, you know, on Spotify because it's all different in big production, but it wasn't anywhere close to what I was doing when I was just by myself on the piano.
Yeah.
So I went to my producer, Adam Egan, and asked him if we could do an acoustic version. That's a little bit more akin to how I play live.
Yeah.
And so he agreed and worked a couple days with me, and we laid down the track and I sang it as if it was just me singing it, so it wasn't like the duet that we had originally recorded. So it kind of came from that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like it's like having such different versions of the song. Like a lot of people do that. They'll do and you call it an acoustic version, but you are playing piano with it, which is obviously like an acoustic instrument. But when I think acoustic, I think like a really broken down, like just a guitar. With the piano, it still feels big and like symphonic. So it is these vastly different styles, because the other one's like a boom, bah,
yeah.
bah. And I just found that interesting. So so in the difference of that, where do you really find those? Like, what are your influences per se in that? Like, because the poppy side kind of reminds me like the making my way downtown, walking fast, and then the other side is like a more ballady. I don't really have an example, but maybe like Fade Into Me, like some sort of stuff like that, like a slower, like more, touching side. So where do you where's those different influences?
I think based on like what I was listening to like in my high school days, was a lot of that, like maybe not bubblegum pop, but like the uplifting kind of pop, like Sarah Bareilles, like Vanessa Carlton, like you were just giving an example of 1,000 Miles. Like that was one of the first songs that I learned on piano, like anyone does. But a lot of that type of music was embedded in my attitude when I wanted to write something in my own style. And then with like the acoustic stuff, I've been pretty involved with like singer-songwriter styles, more gentle Americana stuff, like as of recently, where it's a little bit more intimate. It's a little bit more thoughtful with the language. So there wasn't like a whole lot of decision of being like, okay, I want my total sound to be pop.
Yeah.
It just kind of happened to be
authentically.
Yeah, what I felt like matched the song. And so that's kind of one of the things in journeys that I'm working on, like now as a musician, as an independent artist. It's like, okay, what's my sound?
Yeah.
And I've kind of been go with the flow for most of my life.
That's
as
what I
a
was just
musician.
about to say, yeah.
So like trying to find a distinct vision for myself is still very new.
Yeah.
It's a new concept for me where I'm still constantly looking for people's opinions. And so trying to sit back and hear how I think it should sound, I have to be a little bit more introspective, and just like honest with what I want.
Yeah, and that's what I kind of noticed is like just being able to have such different visions of one particular song. You have to have a very like free-minded like spirit to kind of allow yourself to do it, but also in the same time doing something so different, you need to know what you want at the same time. So yeah, it's a balance between those two things. Speaking of all that, you just dropped an EP. I love the name of it. What was it?
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Which I interpreted in my brain was yeah, no, for sure.
Well, it's after the Midwestern phrase, just like, oh yeah, no, for sure. Because I'm from Michigan.
Okay.
I grew up there, stayed there.
I could kind of hear a little bit of the accent.
Yeah. And I always had friends who would make fun of me, like when I moved down to Cincinnati, being like, oh yeah, or oh no.
Motor.
Yeah, and it was like all the O's and the A's. And so I was talking to someone from another band, and he was very much that Midwestern, like, oh yeah, no, yeah, no, for sure. And I'm like, that's like such a wonderful way to just like be enthused in a conversation. And it doesn't matter, if you disagree or if you agree. You're just going with the flow with, yeah, no, for sure.
Well, and it fits with that. Yeah, it just fits the fun, like, personality you kind of put into it all. Like, you're kind of a bubbly person in general, and it's really cool. But then, like I said, you got this. So, the music video, I'm going to show it. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up. It feels...
Got a dramatic side.
It feels so, serious. But yet it's like this, emotional thing.
Well, it's like
very
personal,
cool.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was a lot of fun to make, too. The room was huge.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, way bigger than I remember.
yeah. So this is at a church.
This
That-
is Hyde Park Community United
The-
Methodist Church.
Yeah. So you've said that you have been playing at this church for the last few years, right? Is that what you? I remember. I think I remember you saying that.
Yep. Yep.
So how did you end up getting into this place and just going to church there, telling
Yeah,
them you played
so,
music?
I had started playing there about 4 or 5 years ago, just as like a singer, pianist. The music director brought me over from another church that I used to play at, and I play there every Sunday. So it was just one of those moments where it was like, oh, this is a really good space to be able to use. It's got cool vibes, and the windows were really nice, tall windows.
I mean, yeah.
And that grand piano, gorgeous, but so out of tune.
Oh yeah, that thing was way out of tune. Can I get this volume? No volume? Oh, there it is. There we are.
I remember that morning my curling iron had broke.
Oh,
And I had to
really?
use my backup curling iron.
Everything goes wrong on set.
It does. I'm pretty sure I dropped it one too many times, you know.
What's really cool about this is like this was like a very simple, go at this. Like we just had to one spot, like set the lights up, and we like nailed a perfect setting. And I love it. Like what's been really cool about this one is we've gotten so much feedback on it. Like normally we get a little bit, but like everyone's like, man, I loved that video. I'm like,
Yeah.
thank you.
I've heard so many great things about it too, just with like the style. I remember when you first sent the first draft, I was like, oh my gosh, like I had no notes like for changing anything. 'Cause
Thank you.
You just hit it spot on with like the vibes.
And but that's what we felt like. That's what's cool about doing it. Like it was like one of those times where the moment just fits perfectly. Like you said, but shit goes wrong, but then it just happens. You're like, oh, this is it. This is the thing.
Yeah. And I always felt like this song was meant to be intimate and connect with like that one person that you're talking to, encouraging them that it's going to be okay. You know, I'm going to be here.
Yeah.
Through the thick and thin. Well, and I've been married for almost 8 years, and so this song, while it's not specifically about my spouse, it's got that idea of like, regardless of what you're going through, like the chorus is like, disappear, I'll be here. Like you could be totally absent-minded, and it doesn't matter because I'm committed and loyal forever.
Yeah, that's a very touching and like honorable message, and and that's what I was saying too about this, like the acoustic version, and and even this video, like complimenting that sound, it gives it this very sentimental feeling of sincerity. It's very it's a perfect storm. It's crazy.
It works so great.
It's so weird how it does that
It
sometimes.
works so great. You guys were killer with that lighting.
Oh man. Yeah, we had fun with those. We had these little flares that we were playing with.
I love that. That extra little effect on there.
Little
shimmer.
little sprinkle of icing. Yeah, if only that piano would have been in tune.
Oh, it was funny. The first take that we did, I was trying to stifle some of my laughter just because it was so out of tune. It was like, oh my goodness. But that's okay. There's other pianos in that church that are not as bad, not nearly as bad.
So, a cool thing I thought too is that was your first music video.
Yeah. Well, I trusted you guys' judgment, especially when we did the first take, and I'm like, do I lip sync this? Like, how does this go? Like, what do people normally do?
Yeah, and sometimes it just depends on what you're most comfortable with.
Yeah.
It's like like if you can fake it good, then hell yeah.
It's not something I've ever really practiced.
And yeah, and then sometimes like we were talking about belting out, when we felt like we were really gonna focus on it, just so it did have that sincerity. It was authentic. It's cool. It was a lot of fun, and
it was.
The video is awesome. So with that video, we've talked, and I'm just curious. You just dropped an EP, so what's like some
Mhm.
future plans that you have to do with your music?
Yeah, so the EP's like fully done and out there. So I'm really thankful to like finally give my first impression to the world of, you know,
Yeah.
like what I enjoy and what I like to sing. And like going forward, I'm definitely writing more music and trying to figure out like what's the next thing, what's the next sound that I want to go for. And I've been doing a lot more co-writing too
Yeah.
with other people as well. So while I'm still like promoting the EP and the other songs, I might do one more music video.
Yeah,
Maybe for
yeah.
like maybe all summer long.
That's
Feels
a
like
good song.
that
I like that
needs
one.
to like be highlighted this
That's definitely one of the
next
songs
season.
that stuck in my head that you performed at Crooner.
Yeah.
And another one I was gonna say, you collaborating with musicians. You did a little bit of that with Coy Comer at Crooner Circus.
Yeah.
That was a really special performance. I thought that was, you know, like it's always exciting to see people that you've seen play, you know, as musicians by themselves and doing their own craft to like merge and do something on stage and
Yeah.
have these special moments, because it doesn't really happen often. A lot of times, I mean, within our like scene and group of people, like our most recognized like situation when that happens is when Adam Lee and Sonny and the Funnies kind of
Yeah.
do something. There is like one or two songs that they like play together. There was the last time I seen them, I think, do it was at Bogart's, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, with Taylor Shannon, R.I.P. Taylor Shannon, man. Yeah, it's but those moments are special though, because it builds those solid memories in people's minds that where they're like, hey, like I remember that time.
That's true.
It's-
That's true. I think it's always great when local musicians can collaborate because
Yeah.
it's like same thing with co-writing. Like when you've got two brains, you know, in the writing room, like it's usually a better product because you have more ideas coming together. And I think it's just there's something magical about getting talented people together
True.
to make something.
True that. Yeah.
And that was like before COVID, that was what I was immersed in. I was immersed like in bands and doing cover bands, original bands, and it wasn't until the pandemic happened that I was kind of forced to go solo.
Yeah,
and
a lot of situations. like
yeah,
that,
yeah. So like a lot of what I do now is like still so new to me, just because I was used to doing it with other musicians.
Well, yeah. Wow. And you're doing a fantastic job of what you're doing. You really are.
I
like,
try.
so what were you doing per se before the
Yeah.
solo venture that you're doing
So,
now? And the EP. and all that
Directly before COVID, I was I was singing with an original funk band called
Oh.
Fox Sucks,
stuff. Okay.
and we partied it up. Like we would play at Stanley's a lot,
Okay.
and it was only for
Very
a
familiar.
year for me, but we had a blast doing that stuff, and it was all like just out of this world. Goofy lyrics. We had a song called Bob Ross, and the lead singer and guitarist Sean was just such a wonderful person and crazy musician. Just always had new ideas for us to try out and be goofy and like take it totally crazy, which is
That's
I love.
yeah. That's super fun.
Yeah. So we were pretty heavy in that. Before that, I was in a couple cover bands, and they were kind of like developmental years. Because before all of that, I was just kind of a musician at like my home.
Yeah.
I wasn't really out playing at all.
There's a lot of those.
Yes.
A lot more than people think.
Yes. Yeah. So I really haven't been gigging for more than 5 years at this point. Because I went to school to be a music educator and an opera singer.
Oh, okay.
So totally different realm.
Oh, I totally
from
get
what,
the voice.
Yeah,
Your voice style.
yeah.
now,
So
yeah.
I've got like a classically trained background, but not really a whole bunch of gig experience.
Yeah.
So I was singing in operas and playing for churches and musicals like in high school and stuff like that. But when it came to
Okay,
like,
you did musicals too?
yeah,
Like
yeah.
like in theater? And...
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
So
yeah.
how long did you do that for?
Like high school, middle
Just high school? Okay,
school,
that's-
yeah. Yeah. So when
We
when
didn't
I
have
got,
that stuff in my school.
Yeah, but when I got to college, there was not enough time to do musicals. That was like a whole different major. So I was immersed in like the operas and like singing arias and art songs. So apart from that, it was like that was the vision. Like that was the goal, was to either be an opera singer or teach choir. And so I wasn't playing, in accompanying myself anywhere. It was like when I had moved down to Cincinnati about 6 years ago. It was like, okay, now what? I'm not gonna be teaching. I'm not doing this opera thing anymore, and I was kind of like, I don't know where to go from here, and just started playing, with a couple local musicians from church, and started like really small based gigs, and kind of grew from there, baby steps.
Yeah. Well, you've come a long way. I mean, just seeing like what you do now. I mean, it's like, like it all looks really good. Sounds good. You're doing your thing very,
Fake
very
it till
well.
I make it.
Yeah, amen. Ain't we all? We're all doing that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Aimee, thank you so much.
Thanks
It's
so
been a
much,
pleasure
Will.
having you.
Thank you for having me.
This has been Talking Me Talking You. Thanks for watching.